Dear President, dear judges, dear rapporteurs and registers, dear witnesses and participants in the Turkey Tribunal, dear colleagues and friends. It's been more than 5 years now since the events of 15 July 2016. It doesn't need much effort though to recall the news flashes and live footage of that Friday night. And it doesn't need much effort neither to recall the sense of confusion and bewilderment, of fear and dismay even, the events of that night provoked. For who could have imagined that we could witness a coup attempt, not just in a remote and unstable country trying to hold itself together, but in an almost century-old republic, long-time Council of Europe member and NATO ally. Were they not definitively over then, those years of structural unrest and military intervention in one's own state order? Those years of lead, which we've also known elsewhere in Europe, sometimes until well into the 20th century. Had history, if not worldwide, then at least in Europe and the Western world, not come to an end, as Francis Fukuyama had already declared in 1992. Apparently not. Even if a coup d'etat is shocking and disruptive in itself, even if every coup attempt has to be surprising by nature almost, still, the fact that this could happen in Turkey well after the turn of the millennium, as if it were right here and right now, this left us all speechless. And when a new day has dawned, this understandably urged for a thorough investigation and a sturdy reaction. Above all, Turkey and the Turks themselves have every right to find out what exactly happened on that Friday night. They have every right to learn about every detail from minute to minute. They have every right to find out who played exactly which role in the coup attempt. They have every right to learn who bears exactly which responsibility. And they have every right to make sure that 15 July 2016 will not ever repeat itself again. However, we should not forget that every right is not synonymous to by all means, however tempting by all means may sound, however reasonable even by all means may seem, given the deep impact and the heavy toll of 15 July 2016. For indeed, we should not forget that the Constitution is not a scrap of paper. The rule of law cannot be turned on and off at will. Human rights are not a luxury product one can opt out of. And commitments to the world community and even more to one's own people cannot simply be paused and reactivated whenever it suits. The real strength of a democracy is tested in its darkest hours. At such times, the true spirit of a constitution and of the rule of law must prevail more than ever. When under pressure, and especially then, human rights and commitments to citizens and society are to be respected. Otherwise, the remedy threatens to be worse than the disease. Otherwise, a failed attempt could eventually still reach its goal. I therefore warmly welcome this initiative. The Turkey Tribunal is, from my point of view, primarily not an initiative against a country or a nation, against representatives of a state or whatsoever. The Turkey Tribunal is, above all, an initiative in favor of democracy and the rule of law. It is an initiative in favor of fundamental human rights. And as such, the Turkey Tribunal is an initiative in favor of Turkey and the Turks themselves, of whom a large majority, I believe, is as strongly committed to the rule of law and fundamental human rights as the initiative takers and their supporters are. This is, for sure, serious business. I am therefore glad that the initiative has not confined itself to formulating a vague indictment, a partisan opinion, or some quickly written passepartout recommendations before quickly moving on to another and meanwhile maybe more mediatized hotbed, of which there are, unfortunately, more than enough in the world. Well, to the contrary, a group of specialized rapporteurs have spent ample time in compiling detailed and well-documented reports consisting of hundreds of pages full of facts and arguments, legal considerations and concrete case studies, specific questions and equally specific answers. Individual witnesses have been invited to testify and to either underpin, nuance or contradict the findings in the publicly available reports. And last but not least, a prestigious and international panel of seasoned judges and academics have generously provided their knowledge and experience, their critical attitude, and their independent mindset to get acknowledged with this case, to read through the fistful of reports, to question the rapporteurs and the witnesses, and to finally emit an opinion. An opinion which is, once again, not an opinion against a country or a nation, as some might argue. Well, to the contrary. For it is an opinion which is at the same time independent and partisan. Independent as it is the result of a completely impartial assessment of the evidence presented at the tribunal. Yet partisan, one could say, as this initiative takes respect for human rights as the starting point and foundation for the Turkey Tribunal. No more and no less. This afternoon session might have been the culmination point of the Turkey Tribunal proper, yet I am absolutely convinced that this is not the end. We have a clear and outspoken opinion on the actual human rights situation in Turkey now. And many might see this as a considerable and convincing call for further action. Action that may be disruptive, that may irritate some, that also, and unfortunately, may provoke antagonism and reaction. In other words, the race is far from finished, and with all due respect to the Turkey Tribunal, the really hard work is probably yet to begin. But then still, the contribution of the Turkey Tribunal is indisputable. A snowball has been set rolling, a stone has been thrown into the pond, and as by natural law, the ripple is slowly but surely spreading. Silence is said to be the greatest enemy of fundamental human rights. Today, the Turkey Tribunal has spoken aloud, and by doing so, it has shown itself to be a strong ally of fundamental human rights. I am very grateful for that, and I feel honored that I could, albeit in a very, very modest way, support this initiative. To finish with, I would like to explicitly thank everybody who turned the Turkey Tribunal from an interesting idea into a remarkable achievement. The initiative takers and their supporters under the inspiring guidance of Professor Rik Van De Walle, the rapporteurs and the registers who meticulously did their job in preparation of and during the tribunal session, the judges who were not at all thrown off balance by the weight of this extraordinary case, and last but not least, the witnesses who dared to speak aloud and who, by doing so, will for sure have inspired many, many more to follow their example, stand up and speak. For yes, indeed, silence is probably the greatest enemy of fundamental human rights. And silence can be paralyzingly heavy and oppressive. But then still, we should remember that it takes just one or a few brave voices to irreversibly break the silence. I thank you.